You go in and see a doctor and all they do is give you prescription medication, don't talk to you about lifestyle, you have a drug dealer. You don't have a doctor. They don't even, and they don't test your labs the right way. So the issue with Western medicine.
Sorry, I loved
It's true though.
Yeah.
You have a drug dealer.
You're listening to the All In Wellness Approach podcast.
This is your wellness, your life. So just one question.
Are you ready to go all in?
Hey guys, it's Aubrey here, and welcome back to the All In Wellness Approach podcast. Our guest today is Carolyn Luttrell, or Kai to her friends. She's an integrative health practitioner, functional nutrition specialist, serial entrepreneur, and mom of 3 boys under the age of 5. Her authority in this conversation didn't start with credentials. It started with a polycystic ovarian syndrome diagnosis, or PCOS for short, unanswered questions, and a body that wasn't responding to the answers she was given. So many women move through years of fatigue, irregular cycles, weight changes, mood shifts, or being told everything is normal, or they just have to manage. When a diagnosis does come, it's usually met with a temporary remedy. In this episode, we'll talk about what happens when women stop accepting a generic diagnosis and start taking charge by advocating for a personalized approach. Kai, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
What were the red flags you kept pushing through until your body made it impossible to ignore in this whole process?
Yeah, I would definitely say it was in college. And that's the time when you're like, I don't know about you, but I definitely had my fair share of what I call networking, aka partying.
Yeah.
But, I was going out, drinking, eating all the bad food, and
Being a college student.
Exactly, staying up late. I never felt awake anymore, right? I always felt like my brain was in a fog. I was working out, I was burning the candle at both ends, and I was not losing weight. In fact, I was just continuing to gain weight.
Which is coined freshman 15, and that's normal.
Right. But it was more than that. I started growing hair on my chin. My cycle was irregular all of a sudden, and I just knew something was wrong, and I couldn't put my finger on it. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me, you have PCOS, and that was it, right? And I was like, okay, what does that mean? And they're like, here, take this medicine. By the way, you're diabetic. And I was like, wait, what? Like, how am what is A1C? They never explained anything to me. I just felt very chewed up and spit out by the medical establishment. So yeah, I got metformin, birth control, spirulactone, very much the big 3 given with PCOS at the doctor. And I started taking these medications and I did not feel better. In fact, I just kept getting worse. I kept gaining weight. My cycle never really reappeared. It just wasn't working. So at the time I was studying neuropsych and marketing undergrad.
Where'd you go to school?
Santa Clara University.
Okay.
Go Broncos. So I had access to all the PubMed and all this being a student. So I just deep dove into any literature, any research that was PCOS. And I wanted to know what caused this, how to fix it, right? It's not like you're just born with PCOS. It's this gradual lifestyle creep. Then all of a sudden you start getting these symptoms. And the way I like to think about symptoms now, that's your body telling you something's up. All these symptoms. The body wants to go back to homeostasis.
You're in college. The doctors just give you a really quick diagnosis of PCOS. And then they throw a couple prescription drugs at you and you start taking them and nothing is getting better. Can you kind of break down for everybody what the common symptoms are, or maybe even hidden symptoms of PCOS?
The common symptoms are just increased weight gain. I would say fat around the belly. Hair is one of the symptoms, kind of what we call androgen symptoms. So
Like hair on the face.
Hair on the face, maybe the lower back, kind of navel area, where typically men would grow more hair. You might see some lowering of the voice. Your tone of voice even goes down. You might even get hypothyroid-like symptoms, like your eyebrows start thinning on the outside. So obviously the loss of your cycle is a big, big indicator, or irregularity of your cycle. We should have cycles anywhere 28 days to 31 days. That's a huge vital sign. If we don't have that, go talk to your doctor or talk to a functional nutritionist. Mm-hmm. Some other signs with PCOS are having that brain fog. You don't have that clarity during your day. That's a big one. People report cystic acne, what we call hormonal acne on your chin. Some people get it on their back as well. And some people even get it in the groins, anywhere kind of, where the folds happen, where your butt creases versus. So people don't talk about that one though, but that is a type of hormonal acne as well. But then after deep diving into that research, I realized, wait, this isn't an end all. This doesn't have to be my life. I have the power to change it. I have the power to reverse it. If my lifestyle brought me here, then my lifestyle can get me out of this. I just started applying what I saw in the research. That was exercising, eating low glycemic. That means whole real foods. I grew up in a way that my parents are super busy. So I was basically quick food, Taco Bell, Pop Tarts, you name it. That's how I grew up. And sure enough, that was part of that lifestyle creep that I'm kind of talking about, where all those hidden things, I kind of call it like a rain barrel. Your body has a rain barrel of toxicities that it can deal with, right? And then all of a sudden, that rain barrel starts to fill up and it starts to spill over. When that spillover happens is when we start to get those symptoms to show up. You might see your friend who eats exactly the same way, maybe even your twin brother or sister. They just have a different size rain barrel than you. And does that make sense?
Yeah, that's an easy way to put it.
Yeah. And so once that spillover happens, we need to figure out how to drain that rain barrel. For me and women with PCOS, like I said, eating that low glycemic, exercising, prioritizing sleep, focusing on building muscle, not just excessive cardio. I think a lot of people have this idea that to lose weight, I just need to do excessive cardio and limit myself in food. Like, no, that actually will make your symptoms worse. It will make your hormonal profile even worse. That's what I was dealing with when I was a freshman too, because I was partying, I was staying up late, and then I was going hard in the gym, running, doing tennis. If I just wish I knew what I knew now, that's my goal is if this reaches one person who's dealing with those symptoms, get a hold on it as soon as you can because you have the power to turn it around.
Through that in college, were you still taking the medication while you were trying to make these lifestyle changes?
I was, yeah. And so I went to the doctor again, different doctor this time. They did the whole thing where they do the scan on your ovaries, and the doctor looked at me square in the face and said, "You're never going to be able to have kids with how much scar tissue is down there." Here I am in college. The walls start crumbling around me,
Like you haven't found a husband yet, and yet you're just being told you can't have a family, and you're just trying to make it out of college.
Exactly. Like I didn't know what I was going to do in life yet. I was still working on, neuropsych and marketing and whatever that meant. But I did know I want to have kids. I did know that was like a goal of mine growing up. So that was like what really pushed me to make the lifestyle change. Like I really had a strong why then, right? Okay, I know this is reversible. I want to have kids someday. And actually, sidebar, when I met my husband, he's amazing. I told him when things started getting serious, I had a doctor tell me I'd never be able to have kids. Like if this is a big deal for you, like you need to let me know now before we start, because I was dating to marry at that point. And he was like, it's cool. We'll adopt. Well, we'll try. You know what I mean? Thankfully, again, like through hard work and making right decisions, like my cycle came back and I'm able to have 3 beautiful boys. To go back to that story where, yeah, the walls were kind of crumbling around me and I just needed to make that change. I think a lot of people, when they get diagnosed with PCOS, also just feel really turned around. How am I even supposed to do this? Okay, now I'm walking out with 3, 4, 5 medications that I'm supposed to take. And they don't talk to you about lifestyle. They don't tell you what brought you there. And you might get like a, hey, lose weight kind of thing from the doctor, but you need to lose it in a way that helps your hormonal profile, not hurts it.
I had a similar experience where I was negatively diagnosed with PCOS. I had the belly and hormonal issues, no cycle, and they just started throwing every different kind of birth control at me. Well, if that birth control is not working, let's try this one. And they'd have me on it for a month and they'd pull me off and put me on a different one. And you need more estrogen and you need this one and you need to skip the sugar pills and keep taking it.
Yep.
And then they said PCOS and they said insulin resistance. And at that point, I speak on this a little bit in my episode about flying and aviation is that's a grounding offense. They just threw an IUD in me, and that is what made me infertile. And so I had an IUD for 6 years, and throughout those years, I met my husband, and I told him they're going to take this IUD out. We tried for 2 years and feel like I was broken. My body, what God put me on this earth to do, I'm broken, and just crying and sobbing over it. And then the hormones trying to flood back, but have been dormant for so long, not realizing that there's other different underlying issues. And so I'm infertile. My AMH levels, my egg count is extremely low, probably aggravated by environmental and lifestyle, because I did the same thing in college at Eastern that you did.
Yeah.
We had to experience the college life.
And the whole birth control trial and error, I did that as well.
Yeah, and this is, I guess, my millennial explanation, roundabout way of going back to when a doctor, Western medicine, says take these medications without explaining what else you can do while on these medications is that temporary fix. The term misdiagnosis, which is what I experienced, is thrown around a lot, but I dare to change it in female reproductive and hormonal medicine is quick diagnosis.
Correct.
Everything's a quick diagnosis and a temporary Band-Aid because they do not understand everybody, every rain barrel is different.
Yep. And they're not even taking the time to sit down with you and go through all your symptoms.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Yeah. And here's the thing with like doctors too. If you go in and see a doctor and all they do is give you prescription medication, don't talk to you about lifestyle, you have a drug dealer. You don't have a doctor. They don't even, and they don't test your labs the right way. So the issue with Western medicine.
Sorry, I love
It's true though.
Yeah.
You have a drug dealer. You don't have somebody who's on your team that is helping with lifestyle and reversing those changes. It's all just Band-Aids that they want to give you. And what's the problem with like a Band-Aid and a dam? There's a hole in the dam and you cover it up.
a Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
Yeah, there's going to be another hole that comes up. If you're not fixing the actual, like the pressure in the dam, you're just covering holes. Thanks for sharing that with me. It's such a hard diagnosis and then the misdiagnosis. And you just, again, you're chewed up and spit out by that medical community. And that's why I wish people would explain this more. Your genetics load the gun, but lifestyle changes fires it. So everybody is given different set of genetics. You can even take, again, like twin studies. You take a twin and put them through the same kind of lifestyle, and one might develop autoimmune issues and one won't. That's just because their
genetics are slightly
different, but then also lifestyle is slightly different. Maybe one decided to work out and go get morning walks and eat enough protein and do all the things that like really we're supposed to be doing, giving our body what it needs. I can go down a whole rabbit hole. We don't get enough outside time. Everything is so indoors in the US now. Just our food, it's Frankenfood now. It's not even real food. Lifestyle changes really make that big difference of that rain barrel, essentially.
College was your first major health shift, and you started making these lifestyle changes, which then after college, you mentioned how, meeting your husband and you joined a gym, you did all these things. Tell me, let's move to what happened next in your life, because we're creeping towards why and how you have all of this knowledge about this.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, I joined a gym, and at this point I was pretty overweight. I mean, I was probably creeping up to 220, my height, I'm 5'7". I was uncomfortable in my own body for sure. And I remember being so nervous, you guys, to start going to a gym. Like I remember
gym intimidation.
Totally. And I just, all these beautiful women with sports bras and men with no shirts. And I'm like, I'm just going to walk in and people are going to laugh at me. That's literally the feeling I thought.
A lot of people have that feeling.
Yeah. And, thankfully, after driving by that gym 8 or 9 times and looking in and finally decided, you know what, I can't do this myself. Like I'm not getting the results I need by myself. I need help, right? And so I walked into that gym and that really changed my life. Heavy lifting mixed with interval training is what really helped me. In retrospect, I wish I did more strength training versus as much interval training when I first got started on my journey. But, it's kind of hindsight's 2020.
But it was also what was the hot commodity and what everybody was doing back then.
For sure.
Versus, what we know now, and age-wise too, right?
And there was also this nutrition coach that came to the gym. I don't know, the guy just had riz and was talking, and he was basically rattling off, if you feel like you are dealing with brain fog or irregular cycles. And I was like, yes, that's me.
It was a live like infomercial.
Yes.
Are you dealing with brain fog?
Yes, it totally was. I was living with my husband at the time. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend, but I was like, I think I'm going to do this. And he's like, I think you should do this. This is a good idea. When the universe or God, whatever you want to call it, just puts the right people in the right place in your life and just
look at this room.
Yeah. You just got to follow it. And I was like, I'm doing it. And he changed my view on nutrition so much. His whole thing also was focusing on blood sugar balance and making sure that we're eating balanced meals. And I learned so much. And I was so scared of carbs before I was seeing him. The doctor was like, just cut out carbs, you'll lose weight. I was scared of eating fruit. That's how it's crazy. And this guy was like, no, you can eat rice, you can eat fruit, you can eat bread, but it needs to be in the right proportions with the right types of food. So he really unlocked this food freedom for me. And I want to do that for other people. So yeah, that's when I started really deep diving about nutrition, and it changed my life so much. When I met my husband, we actually met in a gym, not that gym that I was referencing, but my husband's dream was to open a gym one day. I am like very risk averse. So here I am Googling success rate of gyms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is less than 20%. 80% of them close within the first 2 years. It's insane. Me being very risk averse, I was like, yeah, you could just go do physical therapy. So yeah, he was studying physical therapy and he was finishing his clinicals. His last one was in Texas. So we're like, okay, I guess we're moving to Texas. It was a scary move. We moved from California to Arizona and then Arizona to Texas. And we were further away from family, all alone. I'm sure a lot of women deal with this too, is sometimes we're the bacon winners, you know? I had an e-commerce company at the time that I was scaling up. It was a loose leaf tea of the month club.
I was part of your club.
Yes.
I loved your tea. And then I called to get more, or I texted or emailed to get more. And she's like, I'm not Kai. Kai sold it to me. And I was like, where's Kai?
Yes. I loved that experience. Like scaling and selling a company is
That's cool.
so fun. And yeah, that's a life goal in the future, is help other people, scale and sell. That was such an achievement. And yeah, I just kind of want to chase that high for other people. I don't know if I want to do it again. I was stressed, y'all. New husband, he was going through school, and he didn't even know if he even enjoyed physical therapy anymore, because the clinicals he was at, I won't go too far into it, but it's very much Western medicine. He got to see patients for like 10 minutes. And how are you supposed to get somebody from a rehab injury just seeing them for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
And he was just also getting very disillusioned with our medical system. And he goes, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. The place he was working at, we found out, was kind of doing some sketchy stuff with billing, and they were over billing on things that he wasn't doing just to make more money, which is super unethical. And my husband and I,
Against your foundational core values.
exactly, like in our marriage, ethics is such a big issue to us. And I told him, all right, then quit. You have to quit. Like, you can't continue to work here. And so he quit. And not that he was aimless, I don't want to say that, but he was kind of dealing with, what do I do next? And the gym that I was currently working at needed a coach. And I was like, hey, you're a physical therapist. You have a fitness background. Why don't you just go talk to the owner and see if they'll hire you?
This was in Texas?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never seen him this shiny. He would go and coach. He'd come home and he just like told me all about the movements that day. And then the pandemic hit, right? 2020 comes around. Dun, dun, March.
Everybody's world.
Yeah. And he wanted to still do coaching and do this. We always worked out in our garage. We had a really nice at-home gym. One of our core values as in a marriage, because we met in a gym, and that was something that was been
You
woven.
bond over it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we had a really nice at-home gym. So during the pandemic, we would be working out in our garage, and people would walk by and be like, what a nice gym you have, because everything was closed here.
Yeah.
Like, no gyms were open. And I'm super friendly, and I was like, come work out with us. Just come on. All of a sudden, we had people just telling their friends and telling their friends. I looked around one day, like 20 people in our garage right now. What is going on? And one of them just made a joke. Guys should open up a gym. Ha ha. And it really stuck with my husband, because that's something he's always wanted to do, right? So being the loving wife who is being the breadwinner, I was like, okay.
We are not going to be that 20% that fails.
Exactly. In the name of this podcast, when I do something, I go all in.
Yeah.
I am just gonna nose to the grindstone kind of girl to make things work. Universe, God's timing, everything worked out perfectly. We found the perfect place to rent. That's another crazy story in itself. The owner liked me so much, he gave it to me at half the price that he was asking for. Because, yeah, I
love when things are to the tune of, if it's not a hell yeah, it's a no. And when everything just feels like a hell yeah.
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 So then the gym, it's popping, it's going great. And we just feel the word that you wanted for this year was authentic, right?
Mhm.
And that everything just felt like it was working. And the testimony that we were getting, people falling in love with fitness. And something that I wanted to be really intentional with creating our gym was, so you know how I mentioned my gym experience earlier about
Mhm.
being so scared to come in the door. Everybody's wearing sports bras and no shirts on. I said, I want to be the gym that makes people feel comfortable coming in.
Mhm.
And so we're very intentional with our marketing, our culture at the gym. We even have a dress code. Love it or hate it. If you hate it, we're not the gym for you. Go find a gym that is going to be great for you. And I love that for you. And I'm happy to send you to another gym.
Mhm.
But yeah, people love our dress code because it makes them feel secure. They don't feel like they're constantly comparing their bodies. Like they're on their own journey, right? And it's just having this Adonis, beautiful person in there can be really intimidating while they're on that journey. Building that very intentional culture was really important to me.
There's so much class in that I feel like is a lost art with a lot of companies. And so bravo on you. That's kind of what we want to breed with the AWOL Collective as well, is that type of class and core values.
I think what really made me spark up was seeing those transformations. It's not only physical transformation that we're seeing, but it's like,
Confidence.
yes,
Yes.
I'm not such a better mom. I'm such a better wife. I'm such a better husband now. I can go play with my kids outside, or even grandmas. Like I can play on the ground with my kids now, or my grandkids. That's huge, right? So as the gym was growing, I was able to really deep dive on everything nutrition and start doing nutrition challenges, working one-on-one with nutrition with people. And a funny thing happened is I don't want to say all of them, but everybody we were working with, essentially, their cycles were coming back.
Mhm.
They were starting to feel better and they got pregnant. I can't tell you how many times one of my clients would be like, "Hey, I have some news for you." I'd look at my husband and be like, "We got another one pregnant." And sure enough,
All through nutrition,
all through nutrition
just lifestyle change.
and lifestyle change and lifting and the type of exercise we do at the gym is very much strength focused.
And everybody else pregnant. What about you?
I had 3 kids in this
through
time.
this whole process.
Yeah, this whole process, which was amazing.
And you're right now, like, you have a fresh one at home.
Yeah, like 4 months.
Yeah.
We're not sleeping yet. We just started sleep training. I'm so excited for a full night's sleep again. That's
Yeah.
something I will never, ever take for granted. So yeah, during this process, we had kids and I loved being able to own a business to have my kids in there. We have a whole kids space too. So people with kids could bring them and play with my kids and a whole thing. My kids fold the towels at the gym, so they're super helpful.
I love that. This sounds like something my mom would make me do.
Yeah. What's really awesome too is universe, God, whatever, just it kept coming. Like people were saying, I'm getting my cycle back. I'm getting pregnant. I told my friend about you. And then all of a sudden I had people coming and be like, help me get pregnant. And I want to be very clear. I cannot cure or diagnose. I'm not a fertility doctor, but what I like to focus on is getting your body healthy to reach homeostasis. So you could do anything you want to do, right? If that's have a baby, if that's go on a crazy hike in Colorado, if that's, does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I want people to thrive.
It sounds like you're saying that you take the focus off of people's stressors externally to
Mhm.
get them to focus internally to say, oh, you're not broken. We just have to make these changes and tailor these changes to your life, your life situation, your genetics.
Yeah.
And
I want to help people empty that rain barrel. I know I keep going back to that analogy because it's a nice picture in my head. The body wants to be healthy. It's this chemical stew that we're like living in that makes it unhealthy and all of our lifestyle changes. So what do we do to get healthy is literally the opposite of what we have been doing. Like if we're not sleeping, sleep. If you're eating processed foods, eat real foods. If you are been high stress, go, go, go. Find a ritual that makes you chill out a little bit. Obviously, you can't just quit your job and become a monk. I mean, maybe you can. That's not what I'm asking my clients to do. I'm saying, hey, carve out 5 minutes a day to literally do something that fills your cup, that slows you down a little bit.
Mhm.
Maybe that's some box breathing. Maybe it's knitting. It's something different for everybody. I've gotten some weird responses, but yeah.
I purposely get up at least 20 minutes early before I need to. At first, it's hard when sleep is so precious, but when you start to crave that 20 minutes of time to do my devotional and productivity journal, my day just runs so much smoother. And that's what works for me.
Okay. Well, in the show notes, you definitely have to put the link to your productivity journal because I would love that.
Okay.
So give me that link.
Yeah.
Because I love a good journal.
I created it.
You did.
Yeah.
Your morning ritual sounds similar to mine. It's definitely been challenged with the baby, so I had to pivot a little bit, but gratitude is so huge for me. I have a tendency to see negative all the time. It's just my brain. To rewire myself, I need to do gratitude to start seeing the good.
Can't wait to show you my journal
Oh,
after this.
nice.
Okay, cool. If you feel like you're dealing with any sort of hormone irregularity or symptoms, what's the first thing you would do? Where would you point people to start?
Yes, I would definitely say get some labs done and not traditional go to your doctor kind of labs because they'll just do like a blood panel and maybe looking at your blood sugar. It's not deep enough. They're not looking at potential missing minerals. They're not looking at what does your cortisol levels do throughout the day, right? Because the type of labs that we do in our practice, we check cortisol levels in the morning and then at noon so we can see what's happening throughout the day. Yeah.
Here's a really good question because I didn't know where to start. Who do I go to say, hey, I want a full hormonal panel done on myself because I don't know where my hormones are? Don't you have to have a doctor call that in?
No, that is a common misconception. So, a functional medicine practitioner or an integrative health practitioner
So
can
is
run
you.
labs. Yeah,
Yeah.
me. We run labs depending on what kind of symptoms we're seeing. If we're seeing a lot of hormonal issues, we'll typically do a stress and metabolism test. So, we'll kind of see how your mitochondria are working. We'll look to see if you have any heavy metal toxicities or if you have any missing minerals that are going on. We talked about kind of lifestyle changes, but on like a body level, it's we either have too much toxicities of something or we're missing something, right? So we can see that on labs, which is really cool, and give you lifestyle changes and supplements to guide you through that journey.
I've been habit stacking my own supplements because I've done my labs
Nice.
and learning what I'm deficient in. And a lot of people are like, well, you won't take medication, but you're going to sit here and pop a million pills of supplements. Can you explain to us why we have supplement deficiencies
Sure.
in the US?
The way our food is produced is really sad. So if you look at broccoli from when your grandma grew up, it had so many more minerals and vitamins. The way we farm now is what's called monocropping, and it really depletes the soil. And where we're getting all these mineral and vitamins are from the soil. So if we're depleting the soil, it's not getting into our food as much. To get the same amount of vitamins and minerals that your grandma got from a handful of broccoli, now we need to eat a plate full of broccoli. Let's be real.
No kid is going to eat a plate full of broccoli. I won't
Exactly.
even do that.
And your grandma didn't have Taco Bell. They didn't have all those things,
Fast foods. Yeah.
right? So yes, supplementing in our day and age, make sure you're using a good quality supplement. Please do not go on Amazon and buy supplements, okay? There's reputable companies that actually do third-party testing because you don't even know if you're getting a therapeutic dose if you're just buying it off on Amazon. And heaven forbid you're getting heavy metals because it was made in a factory that wasn't tested. And you want to make sure that you're also taking vitamins in conjunction with food as well to make it bioavailable. For example, vitamin D, that we like it to be ideally in like a gel form or with a fat lipid around it to make it more absorbable. If you're taking vitamin D that's a powder, you're probably just peeing out a lot of vitamin D. Let me just say it that way.
Very expensive urine.
Exactly. So you want it to be bioavailable, and that's paying the extra 50 cents a day makes a huge difference.
Okay, so labs figure out your deficiencies, nutritional foundations. Something that a lot of people ignore is their environmental foundations. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. And just to go back super quickly on the labs, labs are great because you can test, not guess. But if we don't have access to labs or it's just not in the budget right now, we can always work on kind of foundational things. So like you mentioned, the environment. Without wanting to scare people, we are living in an environmental toxic stew.
A hostile environment.
Yes. One of the biggest swaps you can do literally today is ditching plastics, storing your food in plastic, making sure we're not drinking out of a water bottle that's plastic, because all of these microplastics is pretty crazy. Like our body cannot tell the difference between this is just the plastic, let's get rid of it. Instead, it looks at it like it's a hormone. It really mimics estrogen. It binds on to the estrogen receptors. And now your body's like, we're good. We don't need to make any more of that. Or it's the opposite. Make more testosterone to balance out all this extra estrogen that we have in our body. So now we're getting all, our hormones are off balance. I get a lot of pushback on this, so don't get angry at me, is fragrances. Fragrances do the same thing, is they breathe them in and they bind to our estrogen receptor. There's better brands that actually have
Natural oils.
yes, natural oils. It's the fragrances that are made in a lab that our body's like, wait, I can't process this the right way. And the biggest swap, even if it's not just fragrances, is detergents. We have clothing on our body literally all day, maybe not at night, but I mean, you're sleeping in sheets, which have been washed in a detergent, right? And our skin is our biggest organ. And yes, our skin is meant to keep all of our stuff inside, but it also is a
Absorbs.
breathable living organ. So yeah, so it's taking in what we're putting on it. So making sure that we're using nice, clean. Actually, one of my favorite, you can buy it on Amazon brand, is Molly Suds, and it's very affordable. Now it doesn't have the super nice smell, whatever, the Tide clean smell, but like it's great. If you're looking for a really good, nice, clean smell, another brand I like is Truly. That's a good one. It has a really good smell. I feel like fragrances are now going to be like a secondhand smoke, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
When somebody walks by wearing Tide, I'm like, no, I don't want it in my body.
I was just thinking how much more sensitive your nose probably is. We have oils on right now that we were trying out earlier, and I can smell myself. And you probably are really sensitive to them now because you've omitted all of this stuff in your own household.
Yeah, my husband calls it my super sniffer. I love my friends, so if you're listening to this, don't get angry. But if somebody makes us food, I can smell if they use Dawn dish soap. It's that much. I can
Really?
smell it, and I'm like, oh, they use Dawn.
What kind of dish soap do you use?
We use Truly, and there's another brand. I see it in my brain, but seventh generation. I bought it at Target, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to read every label because I'm environmentally curious.
Yeah, environmentally, I love that. Another thing too, filter your water. You can go online and look up your address, and the website is called EWG, Environmental Working Group. And they will give you a breakdown of literally what's in your water. And it's gross. It's gross. So think about all the prescription medications that people take. A lot of people throw them down the toilet. And you know what that does? It gets filtered. And now we're getting prescription medication in our water, which is
I'm totally
crazy.
thought I was doing good in all of my changes for my own hormonal balancing, but now I'm second guessing even the changes I've made. So, not to give you homework, but would you be willing to share with our audience a Kai's approved list of products?
Absolutely. I would
Okay.
love to. And what's crazy is all my clients are like, didn't even know I could feel this good. If you start cutting out the toxins, essentially, you just start thriving. And that's why we're called Elevate Thrive, because that's what we make people do. Once people start realizing that they're in this toxic stew, they can also go really dark. Mindset is really dark, and they start freaking out about, did they use Dawn dish soap? Maybe I shouldn't drink out of it. Or did they? Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want anybody to feel that way, because that can have the opposite effect. If we're constantly nervous, constantly scared, our adrenals, our stress levels are going to rebel against us.
Our favorite saying on the podcast is just do the next right thing. And so, habit stacking and habit helping, which is another thing we've been working on. Just do the next right thing. Start small. If it's just stop drinking out of a plastic water bottle.
Yeah. Or start making those small swaps. We live in Texas, so Dr. Pepper is a thing here. I have people that come in, I'm drinking 5 cans of Dr. Pepper a day. It would be irresponsible for me to be like, completely cut it, because they've already tried that.
They're
You know what I
they're
mean?
gonna replace it with another bad habit.
Exactly. So the first step is, all right, let's make it 3 cans a day. Now let's make it 2 cans a day. What if we try to diet Dr. Pepper in there? And people are going to freak out, be like, oh, but doesn't it have bad stuff? Yes, but if body recomposition needs to happen, then we're going to have to start making baby steps.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then let's say we're at 1 Diet Dr. Pepper a day. Huge, big difference from 5 regular Dr. Peppers a day. I'm going to say, hey, why don't we just cut it a little bit with some seltzer water? So we could do that. Or find a good alternative like a poppy drink or a sparkling water, making these
Topo
small
Chico.
swaps. Yeah, there you go. Another Texas brand. All of these small swaps really stack up. And it's exponentially, you just keep getting better. I don't know if you guys know a little bit about atomic habits.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Habit stacking.
Habit
Yeah.
stacking, yeah. Those small changes just snowball. And that's when you can look back and, oh, wow, I've made a huge difference.
Making these changes in your household, it makes it so much easier when your spouse or roommate, significant other is on board. And to play off of the habit stacking, since my husband has been on board with me and we've been making all these dramatic, amazing lifestyle changes, we now have coined the term habit helping. It's a way for servitude. The way we serve each other is like I will pour his coffee and I put our collagen peptides in our little frother with our creamer, and I make his coffee in the morning. And at dinner, I will avoid taking my vitamins like the plague because it's one extra step that I'm too lazy to do. He will pull out and stack my vitamins in a little cup and bring them to the dinner table. And he's like, take your vitamins. So we just make sure we're habit helping each other.
Yeah.
If you're doing something that I'm doing as well, filling our ice waters up every night before bed, if I'm doing it, I'm going to fill it up for you.
Yep.
And that just makes these small attainable lifestyle changes like easier and easier when you're doing them with somebody. And then it grows into the community at the gyms and joining groups, I'm sure, online and things like that.
Yeah. I love that you guys do that for each other. We kind of do the same in our household. It's a partnership, right? We're walking life together, and our goal is to be 100 plus and just live full life with our kids.
That helps your mentality too. You can spiral into the dark side, and in the Bible, two are better than one. We are not meant to do life alone. And this is what makes life that much sweeter to do together. You have a project. You mentioned Elevate Thrive. You want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. You know how I mentioned like all these women just kept coming to me and saying, you helped my friend get pregnant. I've been dealing with, issues with my cycle. I can't lose weight. I've tried everything. All right, this is the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, telling me I need to start something. I need to formalize this and I need to get it going.
You have a gift.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And my husband kept saying, you got to do it. People are knocking at our door for this. You got to formalize it. And I was like, okay, we're doing it. And here I was thinking I was going to, retire, be the stay-at-home mom again. But life is just calling me in a different direction. So Elevate Thrive is going to be the place where you can get your hormonal testing done, kind of those elevated panels that you normally wouldn't be able to get at the doctor unless you're dropping like thousands of dollars because insurance does not cover it. So we have a way that we've made it super affordable for people, very accessible. And getting that new nutrition and lifestyle plan and making you, for lack of better words, thrive. I want people to realize I've never felt this good before.
Yeah.
And this is how people are supposed to feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this public yet? Is this out yet?
I only take 3 clients a month. So if you want to work with me, you can go to my website and we can chat, see if it's a good fit, and we can go from there. But yes, I cap it so I can give like rock star
quality.
Exactly. I talk about the ripple effect a lot in my lifestyle, even at the gym and everything we do. When I talk to our staff, they are really on board with this ripple effect. Hey, you saying hi to somebody and going the extra mile in class and giving them a good coaching cue can make them give a good coaching cue to their kids. Sit down and do their homework with them. You gave them that high five today that made them feel good. Now they're going to go sit down and do homework with their kids. They're going to be present with their kids. It's this big ripple effect that happens. This is where I can create my biggest ripple, is helping women just feel better.
I think this answered a lot of questions and is going to make lifestyle changes more attainable and help women find answers to questions they probably really need. Towards the end of every episode, we ask one simple question, and it's what are you going all in on?
So after having 3 kids, I want to go all in on myself again, and just feeling radiant is my word for this year.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
So, and I just want to radiate positivity. I want to radiate helpfulness. I want to radiate happiness. I just want to be this place where people are around me and they just feel good. So that's what I'm going all in on, is really focusing on that and just all in on radiance.
I love it.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the All-in Wellness Approach. If the show resonates with you, please rate, review, and subscribe. It helps us reach more people who are ready to live all in. Join the collective on Instagram at AWA Podcast. That's at AIWA Podcast for tools, insights, and inspiration, and catch every full episode on YouTube. Your support fuels this mission and keeps the collective moving all in. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended as medical, psychological, or professional advice. Always consult your doctor before changing your lifestyle.